do you think you could piss into a Brita filter and have it purified into water?
I don't know why I wouldn't just drink my piss. It's already sanitary.
That is true. It's sterile. That's a thing.
Perfectly fine.
Yeah. I kept trying to get our buddy Jeff to on one of his camping trips. He's got like one of those water purifiers that's supposed to purify like any water source you find while he's out hiking. And I'd be like, just find like the dirtiest puddle you can find and purify that. And I kept asking him to purify his urine, but he would not do it.
You think you could purify cum, or is that too far removed from water?
I think that's too far removed. I don't think it's got enough liquid content.
You might be right.
Well, and even still, you'd need a ton of it.
Oh, I've got that covered.
You'd have to like save it up. What's going on, buddy?
Not much. Back to work after my vacation. I'm very sleepy because my sleep schedule's all fucked because of that. So
yeah.
But, just trying to work through the tiredness to get some moving shit done. I threw away a ton of stuff. I put a bunch of furniture up on Craigslist. I've only gotten scam responses so far.
Nice. Did you find a place?
No, I got more scam. I got more people trying to scam me though.
Of course you did.
I got someone. They sent me like it was a fully furnished studio apartment, and I forget what the rate was, but it was decently believable. The pictures they sent were like super low res though, which bothered me.
Okay.
And something else that I noticed was like the text they sent me was like very good English, very grammatically correct until like the last paragraph, which was very strange.
Okay.
So on Google, you can, insert a photo and it will like search the web for identical photos.
Yeah, don't they call it like a reverse image search?
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you knew about it, so
yeah.
I just figured I'd explain it.
Yeah.
So I did a reverse Google image search, and it is in fact in Eugene and a studio, but it's an Airbnb that costs a lot more per night than what they were asking.
Oh.
So they were obviously just trying to be like, this is my place, when it isn't. And they also they got as far as sending me an application, and the application was a fucking joke.
Oh.
So
that sucks.
Yeah, well, here's the real fucking problem. I'll gripe about this for a second. And I'm going to avoid saying who I work for as per usual, but there's some technical issue going on where they cannot send me my job offer. And it's been like 3 weeks since they, it's been like 3 weeks since I accepted the job.
Okay.
And I'm getting emails from like their so they I don't know what the issue is. I can't explain it because I don't understand it.
Mm-hmm.
But like they uploaded a ticket to like the technical support people with the company, and like every few days I'm getting another email from like that tech support ticket, and it's just their HR person going, "Hello, is anyone working on this? This person really needs their job offer." Because like here's the thing, there's been a couple places that have opened up, but I can't. When I apply for them, they want proof of income for where I'm going to be living. Like my recent pay stubs are no good because I live in Michigan right now.
Right.
So I tell them like I've got a job already lined up. They ask for the proof of income. They ask for the job offer as proof of income. I can't provide that because I don't have a fucking job offer. So I've had to give up a couple of apartments that were like, yep, this is in my price range, good square footage, decent floor plan, and I just don't have my proof of income. It's really fucking frustrating.
Oh, bro, that sucks.
It does, but I at least have an Airbnb set up for the first month. So I've got somewhere to stay when I get there. It's just like super frustrating because like stuff is starting to open up for November and I can't apply for any of it.
Yeah.
So I'm really hoping that will get resolved the next few days. And like they emailed me and they're like, hey, we're about a month away from your start date. How you doing? Can we help you with anything? And I was like, I know this is kind of out of your hands, but I really need that job offer. Is there anything else you can do about this? And
yeah,
I don't want to I don't want to email them and be like, I don't want to tell you how to do your job, or,
Right.
But I really feel like there's more that they could be doing. Like there's someone they've got to be able to email. There's someone they got to be able to call to like get this elevated and taken care of. This is kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
I'm traveling cross country to work for the store. The least they can do is ensure that I have my job offer. Like I haven't even technically accepted the job because I haven't gotten the job offer.
Right.
So like in a technical sense, I don't have a job when I get there yet.
Right.
And like they got to be able to do something more. It's so frustrating.
Yeah. I mean, on par, World Market, that kind of shit happened all the time. Remember how many issues we had like hiring people and onboarding and everything?
Yeah. Yeah, one of my friends tried to work there and like her application just kind of never made it through. And granted, like Carissa was the GM at the time, so I'm almost certain it was her fault.
Yeah, that had a lot to do with it, but still.
They definitely didn't make it easy on her. And you have to make it easy for her because she was an idiot.
Real question, did you tell your parents yet?
Yes, I did. My mom called actually like an hour before I was going to call her.
Okay.
And tell her. So I was just kind of like, I promise I wasn't trying to avoid telling her, even though I actually was. But I got this job. And so now they're trying to like figure out how they can like help me move. And I'm kind of telling them like, that's not really necessary. They just moved over the last year from Nashville to Indianapolis.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I guess I forgot to mention that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they live in Indianapolis now. And like I mentioned, like I'd like to have my stepdad drive a U-Haul. To like get my stuff where it needs to go. But the problem is his new job doesn't really have great vacation days. Like you have to work there for like 6 months before they'll even give you vacation days.
Gotcha.
Which that's how a lot of places operate, but it's like you still accumulate them. So I would think he'd have like some built up by now, but this company's weird. Like they just don't give you those vacation days until you work there for 6 months or whatever.
Yeah.
So unfortunately he's not going to be able to help me out, but I do have it all figured out now. I've got everything figured out in terms of like how I'm getting there, where I'm going, all that.
Right on.
So
nice.
Now I'm just trying to sell as much furniture as I can, and hopefully I can sell some of it because it would be nice to get some extra cash in my wallet.
Yeah, that would be good for a cross country move. You kind of need that thing.
Yeah,
that thing being money.
Yeah,
the monies. Hearing about your story with the scammer, well, multiple scammers, but I was thinking specifically the one last week. With that 2-bedroom, couple stories come to mind. One, I saw I won't say the name of the group because it'll dox us here, but there is a local area Facebook group with just events and things going on, and people are always looking for places to live. And someone posted a house for rent from another Facebook group in another town nearby us.
Okay.
And it looks like a really nice place, and I'm sure it's probably real based on the ridiculous requirements. It says female tenant wanted for 1 bedroom, which is completely furnished. Rent includes use of kitchen, sharing bathroom with one other female tenant, and laundry on site. It also includes utilities, direct TV, and internet.
Okay, all sounds pretty reasonable and normal so far.
No lease.
Okay.
No pets. No smoking or partying. No drugs of any kind. Must be COVID vaccinated. And then the last thing I can read is $100 security deposit. But it says 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house for $425 a month.
It sounds like they're renting a room in that house.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a full on, because it does say sharing a bathroom.
Right. Yeah, and based on the other requirements, it sounds like someone's trying to look for a roommate that would fit their lifestyle.
Yeah. I don't know. It kind of seemed interesting.
You'd be surprised, man. Like with all the looking I've been doing, that's not uncommon restrictions.
Okay.
I've seen a lot of things like that. I've seen a lot of people being like, "Oh, I'm a 40-year-old IT worker, and I have an extra room that I'd like to fill, but it needs to be someone who fits into my lifestyle." Like, it's not that uncommon.
Right on. The other thing that the scammer reminded me of was this would have been probably 2008.
That was when I moved to Michigan, so that kind of connects things nicely.
Yeah, look at that. So I was still going to school. And I think I was maybe taking a break for a semester at that point. And so I was like browsing around on one of those like job websites like Monster or whatever, Career Builder or something like that. And ideally I was looking for something in marketing, and because that was the degree I was going for, and my concentration within that was
camps.
What?
Your concentration was camps.
Yeah.
You had a concentration camps.
Oh, yikes. Holocaust jokes.
Mike is very concentrated on camps.
I am. Actually, you're the one that should be very concentrated on camps. You worked at them for a long time.
True. Fair. I guess you could say we're both very concentrated on camps.
Yeah. We love concentration camps. I mean, camp concentration. Wow, you got me all sorts of sidetracked on that.
Sidetrack Bob.
So
you like The Simpsons? I'm just gonna fucking. Wow, Jesus. Okay, I'm gonna pause you for 1 second.
Yeah.
I was curious about the possibility while investigating how I'm gonna move myself. I was curious about the possibility of getting my car kind of delivered to Oregon. And
okay.
like, I would just drive a U-Haul cross country and my car would get delivered there, right?
Right.
That was a thought I had because, I do harbor concerns about my car making it that far. My car is super reliable. It has never broken down on me. Mm-hmm. I'm decently confident it's going to make it just fine. But I do hold reservations. It's an old car.
It's an old car. It's a long trip.
It's needed a lot of work over the years. Like it's a valid concern. So I was like, okay, maybe I should get my car delivered. So I found a website that was like, oh, we'll give your information to like companies and they'll send you quotes. And I was like, perfect.
Yeah.
Because like that's what I did when I was trying to figure out movers too. I like put my information into a website that like sent my info out to a bunch of movers and they all got back to me with quotes. It worked out great.
Yeah.
I didn't end up going with movers, but like it was still a good option. This shit. Oh my God. I cannot believe that the sheer number of companies that have tried to contact me about this. It is fucking absurd. I can't believe how many services there are out there for car deliveries. I've gotten 1,000 emails, a bunch of texts. People have called me. I like I just did just now. They call me. I don't accept the phone call. They immediately call me again.
Wow.
I have blocked so many fucking numbers. I have gotten so many texts about this. Tip for everybody out there. Do not ask for a quote on car deliveries. You will get 1 million of them and they'll all be for the exact same price. Jesus Christ, leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah. Is that a viable option or is that ridiculously expensive?
It is. It would be $1,500, which is an amount that I can afford, but it's not an amount I want to add on top of everything else.
Yeah. I mean, hell, if you were going to do that, you could have like one of your friends like drive it out with you. Yeah. And then you could even like pay for their ticket to fly back and it would probably be.
Well, so I mentioned that my moving is kind of figured out now. Yeah. So I'll talk about that quick. We'll get back to you in a second. I feel bad sidetracking, but this has
no
really
problem.
been bugging the hell out of me.
Go ahead.
So after telling my mom about my move, she started like going into mom mode, trying to figure out ways she could help me.
Yeah.
And so like, I told her, I asked my stepdad, John, to drive the U-Haul. And it was like, well, he can't because of this vacation day thing.
Yeah.
She suggested my younger brother drive the truck, which was an interesting suggestion because my younger brother and I aren't that close. And as far as I was aware, he didn't have truck driving experience, but apparently he's pretty good with them.
Okay.
So my younger brother is going to drive a U-Haul. I'm going to drive my car.
Okay.
And then I will either fly him back or he's going to rent a car and come back.
Okay. Right on.
That part of the details aren't figured out yet. But yeah, like he basically texted me and was like, oh yeah, I'll totally do it. And I was like, are you sure? Like this is asking a lot.
Yeah.
And he was basically like, I'll just do it for the fun of it. Like it's a road trip. Let's go.
Nice.
Yeah.
Chill with your bro.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. It'll be very interesting.
Right on.
But anyway, back to your story.
So back to my story. So I was looking at marketing jobs, and my concentration was sports and event marketing. And I found a job listing, and it was like sports marketing, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. It listed like a decent salary range, and it just said like bachelor's degree preferred. So I was like, okay, like I haven't completed my degree yet. I should check this out. So I apply, and they call me up and set up an interview, and I head out to the interview, and it's kind of back in like an industrial park, but I thought, like whatever, it's just office space. Like it doesn't need to be
super
like,
fancy or super front of the road.
Yeah. So I like go into this like pretty much unmarked building.
Nice.
But I get inside, and it's set up reasonably nice. But it's just like a tiny corner of this building. It's very weird. So I have my interview, and things go fairly well, and they're like, okay, well, we've got a lot more interviews to do. If we want to bring you in for a second interview, we'll give you a call back by like 4:00. So cool. Go home, sitting there waiting by the phone,
staring at the blank wall.
Yep, exactly. Like I do. Like 3:00 comes and I haven't heard anything, and I'm like, okay. Like I didn't think they were gonna call me like right at 4. It's getting closer. It's like 3:50. 4:00 comes. Finally, it's like 4:05. Phone rings. They're like, hey, yeah, we'd like to bring you in for a second interview. We really liked you. We want to like get you a little on the job experience.
And you said to them, I don't work for anybody who isn't punctual. You said 4:00 fuckers, and you hung up the phone.
Yep. And that's the end of my story.
Yeah. I'd do the same thing. 100%.
No, so I obviously I'm like, okay, yeah, cool. Sounds great. So I go in for the second interview, and they're like, oh, we're gonna pair you up with like this other girl that's also interviewing, and you're gonna go out with one of our marketers. And I was like, okay, sweet.
And you said, marketer? I hardly know her. And then they called the police on you.
Yes. So he's like, all right. He's like, we're gonna go out in the field and do a little work. So he's like, I'll drive.
And they literally drove you out to Dwight Schrute's beet farm.
It wasn't fucking far off. I'm not gonna lie.
They literally meant get some work out in the field.
So he's like, it's cool. You guys can ride with me. First of all, his car is just full of shit. Just like fucking wrappers and empty cups and cans and whatever. That's one thing. My car ends up looking like that sometimes, but not if I know I'm going to be like driving people around.
Right. Especially a prospective employee that you maybe want to show you aren't a total scumbag too.
Yeah. So we get on the highway, and he's like, so you guys are probably wondering what we're going to be doing today. And we're like, yeah, absolutely we do. And he's like, we do marketing for, I don't know, some like wheelchair basketball league.
Okay. All right.
And I'm like, okay, fine. He's like, we raise money, to like support their cause. I'm like, okay, cool. He's like, the way we do that is we sell these coupon books door to door.
Oh, that's not marketing at all.
No. And it was like, These coupon books were like $40.
Oh man.
And he's like, yeah, 50 cents from each book goes to wheelchair basketball.
That's not very much.
And he also explained while we were driving, he was like, yeah, so like he's like, I'm a manager. He's like, I've only been working here like 3 weeks. He's like, you achieve so much in sales. He's like, and then you get your own sales team. He's like, and then that's hopefully what you guys are going to be for me. He's
pyramid
like,
scheme.
Absolutely. 100% a pyramid scheme. So we end up getting to this subdivision and he's like, he looks at me and he's like, all right, cool. He's like, you can go around with me and we'll drop off this chick like a couple streets down with like a handful of books.
Have fun.
And
go use that degree, boy.
And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, how do I get out of this? So
yeah, he really fucked you by getting you in the car first.
Yeah, he got me in the car first, and also like there's this other girl just like dropped off somewhere all by herself.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, any books you sell today, you can keep $10 of it for yourself. And I was like, what? So I'm just like not doing anything. We're like going around door to door and I'm just like not saying anything. I'm just letting him just do his thing. Cause like clearly this is not something I want to be involved in.
Not at all.
And fucking thank God that girl like calls him up like an hour into this. And she's like, yeah, this isn't for me. Like you got to pick me up. We got to go back.
Yep. Good.
And so like we're driving back and he's like, he looks at me and he's like, so how you feeling about it? You feeling pretty good? And I was like,
ready to buy a few cases of your own coupon books to start selling?
I was like, no, brah. This isn't working for me. So he was like, it's cool. He's like, I understand. He's like, this isn't something that's really for everyone. Like trying to like shit on me for not wanting to join his pyramid scheme.
Well, of course, he's got to try to make you feel bad about it.
Yeah. So he as a consolation, he did give both of us a coupon book.
Sick.
Which was pretty dope. There were like I think there were like 5 free Hungry Howie's pizzas in there.
Damn.
Which was actually the coupon book seemed pretty legit. I just didn't want to sell that as a pyramid scheme for money.
No, not really.
Yeah, so that's how I got scammed by an internet post.
At least you didn't end up like losing any money to it. You just lost time.
Yeah, I just lost time for a job interview and I gained a coupon book out of it. So
I feel really bad for people who are dumb enough to fall for pyramid schemes because they are all over the place.
Yeah, a lot of them are like those like online ones.
Yeah, no, it's in the age of the internet. It's real easy to hook people into those.
Yeah,
it's crazy because there's so much public knowledge surrounding this like major scam, and yet they keep popping up and they keep popping off.
Yeah. Like I know quite a few people who are involved in some variety of one of those. And one person who's been involved, and I swear to God, at least 3 of them by now. And I have to be thinking like, how are you not seeing this?
Someone need to show them that bit from The Office.
Yeah, like
and they're pretty easy to spot. No matter how like they try to fancy up the words to like explain how they're doing their business, they're pretty easy to fucking spot.
Yeah, they are. But yeah, you're right. In the age of the internet, they're fucking everywhere. Oh, you can only sell so much shit to your friends before you run out of people to sell to.
Yeah.
And then everybody else in your area has already been hooked in by one of their friends who's doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Then they make their money and run.
Yep.
Kickstarter scams are a big thing. I don't know if you like know too much about that.
No, I don't. I mean, I know like what Kickstarter is and how it works, but I I don't know anything about the scams from it.
Yeah. So, just to, I'm sure everybody knows, but just to like, set a base for like how all this works. Like Kickstarter, it's a website where you can raise funds for like various projects that you want to do. Like and especially there's a ton of Kickstarters for like video games.
Okay.
Because video games are very expensive and time consuming to create.
Okay, that's fair.
It is very difficult for a small unknown team to just start up a video game, but there are like people who have really good ideas, and especially like the way that video game production works these days is there's usually a developer and a publisher, right? The developer makes the game, the publisher pays for the game, and they both rake in profits.
Okay.
So you have a lot of studios, especially the big name studios, which are like kind of a developer publisher combined, but even they tend to outsource their work to developers as a publisher. So you have like, all of the Call of Duty games, all of those are published by Activision Blizzard.
Okay.
But they're all developed by, and I don't know the company names, but they're all developed by two different companies. Call of Duty works on a yearly format. They have a new Call of Duty game every single year. So they have two different studios that each develop a game in 2 years.
Okay.
Right. So that's how it works most of the time. But for smaller teams, it can be difficult for them to catch the attention of a publisher. It's like an unknown novelist trying to sell their book to a publisher. It's the same kind of thing.
Right. Or like a music artist.
Yeah.
Like signing on with a label or whatever.
Yeah. It can be really hard for them to find a publisher, especially if no one knows who they are. But there are people who have really good video game ideas, and maybe they are like, connected to a certain niche, and they're like they're really unconventional, but end up being massive successes.
Okay.
I can tell you Shovel Knight. Shovel Knight is an extremely famous example of a super successful Kickstarter campaign. Shovel Knight is like a very like retro style 8-bit platformer game, and it's crazy good. And they have for years since their Kickstarter finished continued to build upon the game with like free DLC where they add new characters that you can play as, like all kinds of stuff.
Okay.
But it don't always work like that.
Yeah.
There are a lot of Kickstarters that get started, and the developer makes an honest effort to create a game, and like whatever, because they're not super experienced at game development, or because they set their sights too high, whatever the case may be, they might run out of money from the Kickstarter before their game finishes, and then the game never ends up coming out.
Okay.
And that's not technically against like the terms of Kickstarter. The way Kickstarter works is like if you promise to deliver a product, you're supposed to deliver a product, but it's also understood by Kickstarter that like sometimes it just can't be delivered despite an honest effort being made.
Okay.
So people get really mad about that kind of thing.
Understandably.
Which is understandable, but like I don't think they actually have any right to. When you provide funds to a Kickstarter campaign, I think of it as investing. You're investing in the possibility that this game will exist. You're investing in like the possibility that you'll be able to play this game. You are not buying a game. You're buying the possibility of a game existing, right?
Right. And if it does, then you
get that game.
Right.
But if it doesn't come to fruition, then you backed a bad campaign. You made a poor investment.
Sure.
Right? That's not your that's on you. That's your fault as far as I'm concerned. But there's a lot of people out there who just straight up take advantage of that system. They'll come up with a really flashy trailer and like promise fucking the moon and back. They'll be like, this game is going to be a massively multiplayer online game where you can fucking own a house, and you can start a family, and you can go to Mars, and you can shoot aliens, and you can fuck aliens. Like they'll promise everything under the sun that every gamer wants to do. We all want to go clap those alien cheeks.
Right. Yes.
Then they'll spend 3 years building a barely functional shit show in fucking the Unity engine, which is like the most commonly used and least poorly created engine available. And then they'll be like, yeah, we ran out of money. Sorry, bro. And it's at this point they've raked in like $3 million, and they can just keep that. And so there's tons of examples. There's tons. This guy, Critical on YouTube, he makes a lot of videos about like Kickstarter scams, and there's just a ton of them. And you watch like these opening trailers that they got to get people to sign up for their games, and I don't even know how people fall for it. It's like you're saying way too much. There's no way any of this is going to be possible.
Yeah.
But it works. They get away with it because there's not technically anything against the rules. That they're not technically doing anything against the rules. You know, they still created something, even if it wasn't the finished game, and then they can like be like, oh yeah, we're in the same group as all these people who just ran out of money, dog. We tried our best, but shit, dude. And you look at their game and it's like, there's no way you spent more than $100,000 on this and you raked in $3 million.
I would think that they would have to like have some sort of proof of like how the funds were spent to show that they ran out of money.
Yes. So there are requirements by Kickstarter for them to be like decently open with their backers.
Mm-hmm.
But like Kickstarter is not a game developer. They have no idea how legit those reports are.
Right. Ugh.
So it's really easy to take advantage of.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate.
I mean, if you want to make a game, I can see what I can do. I own
Breakroom Nachos, the video game.
I own Zynga, so that's
what the hell is Zynga?
Zynga, they're like the mobile game company. They do like Farmville.
Oh yeah, I do know that name.
I was gonna say, how do you not know this? I know that's not your like.
I'm not a mobile gamer.
Game, but like,
now that you mentioned, like, I remember playing that shit on like Facebook back in the day. But
yeah, no, I like a couple years ago, my buddy got me to sign up for this like stock trading app, and like for signing up, you got like one free share of stock, and they gave me one share of Zynga.
Nice.
And then I bought a second one on my own just because. So I own 2 shares worth of the Zynga company.
Perfect. Yeah. No, we'll make the Breakroom Nachos video game.
Yeah, I'll talk to the CEO, see what I can get for us.
It'll be a game where you go to grocery stores in Ohio and just kill every customer.
Ooh, that happens. That's been happening a lot. Maybe we shouldn't make that a game.
There was a game about fucking shooting up the civilian locations, you know.
Can we make it a game where you go to grocery stores in Ohio and just slap the bread?
Let's just make it a game where you go to grocery stores in Ohio and slap and insult all the customers. Is that better for you? You can just like walk up to them and knock over their carts. Walk up to them and drop their kid on the floor.
I like it.
Walk up to them and be like, "Stop having sex with your brother."
Right, because that's what all people in Ohio do.
Right, and then like if you build up enough points being rude to customers, you can take a giant space laser and cut Ohio out of the United States and just like throw it over to China.
I like it.
And it'll land like right in the middle of the Gaza, like the Gaza desert. Is that what it's called?
The Giza Strip?
Giza Strip? That doesn't sound right. What the fuck is that desert called? Hang on, I gotta look this up. What's the desert in China? We'll throw Ohio there.
Yeah,
it'll have a nice home there.
Oh yeah,
the Gobi Desert. That's what it was. Gobi. Yeah, right on the border of Mongolia. That's what I was talking about. Yeah, just toss them into the Gobi Desert.
That's fine.
It'll become the Ohio Desert.
Nice. It'll be about as interesting to look at as Ohio is now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, I think that worked great. I think we would get a lot of investors in that game.
We should. Can we try and kickstart that actually happening?
Let's just start a Kickstarter campaign to cut Ohio out of the United States and toss it into the Gobi Desert.
Yeah, I like it. Oh, there was a show called Workaholics, and there was like a weed dealer on there who was just like drugged out of his mind all the time. And I can't remember if he said Kickstarter or GoFundMe. I think it was Kickstarter. But he was like, yeah, I want to start a Kickstarter for Funyuns. And the one guy was like, what are you kickstarting? Are you trying to buy Funyuns? Like you're trying to buy the company? And he's like, No, he's like, I just really like Funyuns and I want people to pay for them for me. I suppose you actually could do that on GoFundMe, right?
Yes.
Because you can just ask for money.
Yeah, that's basically an e-bagging site. That's mean to call it that. Because some people are on there like being like, oh, my mobile, my handicap van is no good. I need a new one, please.
Yeah, and that's legit.
That's cool. I'm glad that there exists an outlet for that. Mike, everybody on the internet has talked about this.
I think I know what you're going to talk about.
What?
Are you going to talk about soaking?
No, what the fuck are you talking about?
Okay, never mind. Go ahead with yours.
So they announced a new Mario Bros movie recently.
Okay.
And they announced the cast for it, and it's been getting memed like nobody's business.
Oh, I knew there was a movie coming out. I didn't hear anything about the cast.
Who do you think could possibly voice Mario?
Oh, it's a voice. We're looking for someone to do the voice.
I'm seeing it's all voices. I don't know if it's like what's the word I'm looking for? It's I don't think it's a live action movie.
Okay. Now, I will say, don't give me a hint as to who it is, but is it someone who like actually would fit that role?
No, not at all.
Okay, the first name that came to mind is Danny DeVito.
No, that would be fucking awesome.
All right,
give me two more guesses.
John Cena.
No. No, but that would be about as ridiculous.
Apparently, I need to be in charge of casting for this movie. All right, one more. Let's see. Gordon Ramsay.
No, that would be fucking hilarious. He calls people Goombas sometimes as an insult. That would work perfectly.
Oh, that's great.
You fucking Goomba? Oh my god, that would be great.
Is the rest of the cast funny? Like, are you gonna have me guess any of the others?
I don't make you guess because I don't want to like take too much time with this, but this is fucking hilarious.
Okay. Let's hear it.
So Mario is being voiced by the Chris Pratt.
Okay. We've talked about him being a good voice actor.
But come on, bro, from Mario?
Yeah, no. No.
This is about the only one that well, not the only one, but this is one of the only ones that people are actually kind of celebrating. Charlie Day is Luigi. Which I can actually see.
Yeah.
I think that'll be hilarious. Bowser, Jack Black.
Oh, okay. All right, maybe.
Donkey Kong is Seth Rogen.
All right.
This one's probably my favorite. Toad, you know, the little mushroom head guys who make the really loud, like, squealing noise.
Yeah.
Keegan-Michael Key.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh, God. What about...
I can't picture it at all.
Princess?
Wait, fuck. Hang on. She was announced, but I'm not seeing her on here.
Oh, damn.
It's Anya Taylor-Joy.
I don't know who that is.
I don't really know who she is either. But, I mean, like, you know, Peach is like the human person in that world. Like, like Mario's human too, but he's a weird-looking human. Peach is at least like a normal human person and like of indistinct nationality. I can see that one being voice acted by like basically any female actress. But like Mario, it's like he has a pretty distinct voice sound, and I don't know that Chris Pratt is going to be able to pull it off. Other than that, I mean, we got some characters that I don't think you would even know. Cranky Kong's going to be Fred Armisen.
Okay.
Comic's going to be Kevin Michael Richardson. And Spike is going to be Sebastian Maniscalco.
Yeah, I don't know.
Who even is that? What has he done?
I don't know who those characters or actors are.
I don't know who Spike is. I think that's something they're making up for this thing. Oh, they're doing a live action Cowboy Bebop on Netflix, by the way, that show I told you about.
Yeah.
Don't know how I feel about that. I've seen the trailers and like, I don't know. I could go on. I could talk for hours about the problem I have with live action adapting things that were originally done in animation or graphic novel form. But like,
yeah,
you know, it can be done. I just don't think they're doing a good job of it.
Yeah, I actually saw something about how that was a thing. And It was like an article about Netflix announcing like all the upcoming series. And I think I only clicked on it because it was like, ooh, new details about Stranger Things season 4, which I was super excited about. And literally all it said is it's coming next year, which everyone already knew. But then it said Cowboy Bebop. That's a thing.
So I don't recognize any of these movies. This guy, Sebastian Maniscalco, has been in The Irishman, Green Book, Tag, Cruise, The Nut Job 2, Nutty by Nature.
Oh God.
I don't think he was in The Nut Job 1, nor did I know that existed until now.
No.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah, I don't know. There's I mean, like, you know, I won't go on this tangent for too super long, but we've talked before about like what I think some of the strengths of like animation and graphic novels are, right?
Yeah.
Like one of the things with animation is like their ability to play with proportions, and it's like you can't do that in a live action setting.
Right.
They're doing a live action adaptation of One Piece, which many people know is my favorite thing ever made.
Right.
The main character of One Piece, a character named Luffy, has a power that his entire body's made of rubber and he can stretch.
Mm-hmm.
And that looks fine in drawings and in animation because he's, you know, drawn in a cartoony style. But when I imagine like a real like human person, like CGI, his arms stretching weirdly, like it already sounds so fucking weird. Like,
yeah,
you think of the Fantastic Four with like what's his face with Mr. Stretchy guy in the Fantastic Four, it looked weird.
Yeah,
it looked unnatural. Like it just doesn't work. And so, you know, Cowboy Bebop was always an anime that was a little more grounded in reality. Yes, it was like a Western style story placed in like a sci-fi setting,
mm-hmm.
but like, you know, it was always grounded in reality in terms of like how it treated the characters. Like they shot guns and could get hurt by them. You know, it was always
okay
within the bounds of reality. So it's not impossible to adapt it into live action. I just don't think there's any reason to.
I mean, that's with a lot of things, but
yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah. So I have a question. We've talked before about the names of Mario characters, like Mario and Luigi Mario, because they're the Mario brothers. At some point, did Peach's name change, or is Peach her first name? Do we know? Because like for a period of time growing up, I remember her being referred to as Princess Toadstool.
So I do not know if this is fact or not, but I believe Princess Toadstool is her original Japanese name.
Okay.
And when they adapted some of the games, not like the early games, like the early games, she was still Princess Toadstool, but when they adapted it later games, I think the Americans decided to call her Princess Peach, and then that retroactively became a thing in Japan.
Gotcha.
So I think like Princess Toadstool and Princess Peach are just the same person. I don't know if those names are related to each other at all, but she could be Peach Toadstool. That's not an unreasonable name.
Right, Princess Peach Toadstool.
I mean, shit, she's the princess of the Mushroom Kingdom. I would expect their ruler's name to be mushroom related.
Yeah. You won't remember this because this came out when I was a kid. But for some of our older listeners, they came out with a Mario Pop or soda for those
who are correct,
who are incredibly wrong. It is not soda.
It absolutely is.
Get the fuck out of here. But they really dropped the ball because they had a Mario, Luigi, Yoshi, and Peach. And the
Peach was not peach flavored, was it?
No, it wasn't.
It's fucking... It's Ramen Packet freeze dried mushroom flavored.
Yeah, they came in these little cans. They were pretty dope. But Yoshi was apple. That makes sense. He's green. Luigi was berry because I guess they couldn't come up with another
green food.
Lime seems like it would have worked. Mario was punch, and this says Princess Toadstool on the can. Princess Toadstool cherry. Maybe that's why they didn't.
That's probably why.
Okay.
I'm surprised they didn't make Mario like a toilet backwater flavor because he is a plumber.
Right. Oh, God. Yeah, it said it was introduced in 1993 and discontinued in 1994.
Oof, that didn't last long.
I think it was a tie-in with that live action Mario movie.
Never seen that. But those actors didn't really seem like they fit either. But that movie's also lauded as being pretty terrible. So
yeah. From what I remember, Yoshi was played by a person.
Yeah, Yoshi and Bowser and like the Goombas and Koopas were all played by people who just had like crazy makeup on.
Yeah. Well, kind of like the old live action TMNT movies.
Right. So that's what I was about to say. Like that's very 90s of them. It makes sense.
But the TMNT were really good.
Yeah.
Like even though they were people.
No, yeah. I mean, I watched those when I was a kid. They were pretty pog.
Yeah, those were pretty epic movies. At least like definitely the first one, maybe the first two.
I don't remember them well enough to like grade them, but I remember liking them.
Yeah. Pretty dope movies. TMNT is great. I thought of something the other day. Like so drinking fountains in a lot of places are still shut down here. I don't know if you've noticed that.
Yes, and I'll just before you keep going, I will say like the pandemic has made me realize how kind of odd the things we did pre-pandemic were.
Okay.
Like when you think about it, drinking fountains are kind of gross. There's a lot of people who just tongue those fuckers.
Yeah, I'm going to distract both your story, which in turn distracted my story. But did you ever watch Parks and Rec?
Yes, of course. They had that whole bit about people literally putting their entire mouth over it.
God, that is so fucking funny.
And while I never saw anybody do that, I definitely saw people get very close to the mouth of the drinking fountain.
Yeah.
And it's not like people regularly clean those things. And then like where I work, we had this like mochi freezer, and we literally just had loose mochi all like packed in there together, and people would just reach in and grab them. And it's like, wow, it's kind of, I didn't think about it when at that time, but now like in the midst of a pandemic, it's like, I can't believe we were just kind of touching on those fuckers. Like, yeah, we used like wax paper, but that's still a bit odd.
Well, what's the scenario if you're grabbing like a single donut? Is that still like grab it with wax paper?
It is now. It wasn't for a long time. We had to package them all individually.
Okay. I'm kind of looking forward to getting back to being less sanitary. I feel like that's a good thing.
I don't think we're gonna get there I don't think we're going to get there anytime soon, honestly. Like, this shit just keeps dragging on.
Yeah.
And every time we think it's close to the end, everybody relaxes too much, and then it just starts back up again. Because we're also working against the force of people who just never took it seriously to begin with.
Yeah.
And now we have a whole fucking variant going around because these fuckers didn't take it seriously in the first place.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Ugh, fucking people.
Thanks. Appreciate ya.
Well, I did happen to see a functional drinking fountain the other day.
Yeah.
And I was super excited about it. I was like, shit, I haven't used one of these in like a year and a half, however long it's been. And so I used it, but I remembered, do you remember all the issues we had with the drinking fountain at World Market where like anytime you would start to use it, it would just continue running for a long period of time?
Yep. And then there was a time when it would just, oh, but that's what you're talking about. Sorry. Yeah. When it would just keep spewing water.
Yeah.
But then there was also like, it would never shut off. Like you constantly hear like the refrigeration sound or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And then I think at some point someone did throw up in one of them. And then like Tim refused to ever use the one that was slightly taller.
Yeah. Someone threw up in that one. And at one point, this is before I started at World Market. So a long time ago, someone like, they like dropped a pop and it broke, or maybe Tirani, something sticky, and it got on their foot and they proceeded to wash their foot in the...
What the fuck? Are these people animals?
In the shallow one. So both those fuckers were contaminated.
Yeah, well, because after he told me that someone had thrown up in that, because it was while I was there, I was like, so I started using the shorter one as well. Same with Tim. And then someone threw up into that one.
God. But do you remember the game that I used to play when when the tall one would continue running?
No, I don't remember.
I made up this game where if someone left the drinking fountain and it was still running, I could go up, and if I could go up to it, get a drink, and finish before it
turned back off. I do remember this.
I would steal their soul. But if it stopped while I was getting a drink, they would then get my soul and all souls that I had previously collected.
Oh, damn, lost a big chunk there.
Yeah. But I remember we would joke that I had stolen Darius's soul like at least like 50 times, because that bro would get a drink like every day.
Yeah. You reminded me of something I've been meaning to bring up for a long time.
Okay.
Of a game that you and I used to play at World Market.
Okay.
On Sunday afternoons.
Okay. Okay. I gotcha.
Mike and I used to play this game at World Market. And it was really funny. Around noon at Sunday, we'd start getting customers in, and we would pay attention to how they were dressed. We'd look for people who were dressed in like nice button-up shirts, maybe some khaki pants, or maybe like some dress pants. We'd look for women that were wearing like very modest, like long dresses that covered their like went all the way down to their ankles, or like little kids who were wearing like, you know, pants with their shirt tucked in and like belts tied.
Yep.
And we called who's the churchgoer?
Yep. Oh God, spotting those churchgoers was great.
Yeah, because every Sunday around that time, and like this isn't unique to World Market. This is just a thing. I'm sure anybody working in like the food service industry could do the same game.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
For whatever reason, like after churchgoers love to like go to a restaurant or go to a store and just meander around for some time. So you look for those outfits that are like that straight up a church outfit, and you're like that one's a churchgoer. That's a hot and fresh churchgoer right there.
Yep. Man, I bet it's got to be a great time to play that game if you're like a waiter or waitress at like a middle of the road breakfast or brunch place on a Sunday.
Oh my God.
Because then you can play like spot the churchgoer and spot the like hungover college kids who like need to go get a greasy breakfast to try to beat their hangover. And they're both
to see them mixed together.
Yeah. Like that's gotta be like such a great, like as much as Sundays probably suck, like working, that's gotta make some fun out of it.
I know it helped our boring Sundays, because Sundays were always pretty dead.
Hell yeah. Yeah. Sundays were like boring as shit.
Yeah. It was actually really amazing how boring Sundays were, considering Saturdays were like our busiest day. Like it's still the weekend. Why does no one go shopping on Sunday?
Yeah, I don't know.
But no, it's so weird. Like it's so easy to spot. Like you look at a certain dress and you're like, this lady just came from church.
Yeah.
You look at these like middle-aged dads dressed all conservatively and you're like, this guy just came from church. Like the outfits are very distinct.
Yeah. At least with like the restaurant thing, like some people will get a little bit dressed up to go out to like a meal.
Sure.
I mean, I guess depending on what the meal is, where you're going, that kind of thing. But nobody gets dressed up just to go to World Market. That's ridiculous. Nope. So we knew.
I've seen you. You've been talking to God. You've been talking shit to God.
Mm-hmm.
Did you go to church as a kid?
I did not.
I went to church as a kid for a few years. It was fucking miserable. I always hated church.
Yeah.
Church was the fucking worst.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. It's really not great.
Oh my God. Like I just like, I get that it's not supposed to be like an enjoyable experience. Like you're like communing with God and like, you know, doing your due diligence as like a member of this faith or whatever.
Uh-huh.
But like, fuck, man, can they jazz it up a little bit?
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus Christ. What's up with singing hymns? What's up with that? Why do they do that?
Yeah.
It's very culty.
Oh, religion in general is very culty, but
well, I mean, most cults are founded on religion. So.
Yeah.
Well, you know, but Jesus, like it's the most I can like think back. It's like such a certain vibe, right? Where it's just like I can think back. I can imagine like the stale, quiet air. I can imagine like the echo of the priest who was probably touching some kid after this. I can imagine like just the uncomfortable like seats, whatever they're called, I forget. Pews, that's it. I can imagine like the smell of an old crappy Bible and just like be transported to like that. It's like such a specific place.
Yeah.
But every church feels that way and it's miserable.
Yeah.
Same with like Sunday school. Like it's in the same environment, but it's slightly different. But like there's still like such a certain vibe where it's like, oh God, I can think back to that and how fucking miserable it was.
Yeah, I saw a couple good memes recently. One was it was like a pizza and it said like, this is how I decided to cut the pizza for that Sunday school that refuses to give me a tip every Sunday. And it was cut into like the
pentagram shape.
Yeah.
Nice. Pog.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool. And then the other one was like a basket full of like communion wafers and a picture of Jesus. And it was like, because they're supposed to represent like the body of Christ.
Yeah.
And so it was like, how many times do you have to take communion before you fully consume Christ?
Oh man. So if you didn't go to church, did you ever have communion wafers?
I have been to church. There was like a short period where I went to church, but I wasn't like a small child. I never had like the Sunday school vibe. Like I was a little bit older and stupid, but yeah, that's been quite a while.
But did you have the communion wafers?
Yeah, I've had them before.
Those things are fucking disgusting.
Oh yeah.
They're literally like I have never tasted anything in my life that tastes less like food than communion wafers.
They literally taste like like what you would imagine styrofoam would taste like.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know what the hell they make those things out of.
I don't know. So every year for Christmas,
you have to do the Christmas like special service.
No, thank God.
Those were a nightmare, but back to you.
My grandma would have this big Christmas dinner. All like my aunts and uncles and cousins. There were probably like 25 or 30 of us that would get together in her basement. She had this big Poggers basement. And part of it was, I don't know why, she hadn't been to church in like my entire lifetime, plus longer than that. But she would go to like the church and get these like special like Christmas wafers. And they were like the same material as a communion wafer, but they were the size of a fucking postcard.
Oh no.
Like legit huge. And they like had like
the crisscross.
They had like different scenes.
Oh,
like,
really?
Like not
like printed onto them,
like stamped into it. It was like embossed.
Oh my God.
And God, we would, I don't know. I think one of my uncles would like drizzle honey on it and pass them around. And then it was fucking awful because you had to eat so much of that.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Like the one bite ones are terrible enough.
Yeah.
Like,
but then all the kids got to do a shot. So we were like 8 years old and they'd fill like a third of a shot glass.
I think that may have been the start of my hatred for alcohol. That shit was fucking disgusting. Communion wine is awful.
I don't think I've ever had like actual communion wine. I think every time I've had it, it was literally just like grape juice.
I had communion wine at one point and I was definitely very underage.
Yeah.
Oh man. I remember I always hated church. Like from day one, it was awful. And like when I got to an age where I was like 11 or 12 and I started to question the existence of God, because I'm I won't say what I was about to say next. That was going to be mean.
I was going to say, oh yeah, no, I won't say mine either. But.
When I was getting to that age where I was starting to question the existence of God, like my dad like took me to our pastor's house and like I had to like sit down with her and like she I asked her like the questions that I was like starting to wonder, and she really didn't have good answers for them. It was basically all like, have faith. And I don't really remember what a lot of my questions were, but a lot of it was along the lines of like, how do we have such a detailed record of this time period when we don't have detailed records of the exact same time period? Like, I was being very analytical about it, being like, we don't have very like good records of the world that far back. How are we saying that this one book is like that accurate? And she was just like, well, because people who loved God wrote it or something like that. It was like,
yeah,
bro, come on. And then there's the whole thing where like Jesus got whitewashed by the Romans because they needed they needed like a way to get people to believe in him. And it's like,
yeah,
bro was in like this. It was in the fucking Arabian desert. He was not white,
right? Yeah, yeah.
Oh man. But fuck. And the funny thing about that too is like my dad, who like grew up Christian, and like the only reason we ever went to church was because of my dad. My mom never liked it, and like when they got divorced, she never went back to church.
Yeah.
And like even my parents, my mom's grandparents, like they don't go to church either. Her entire family isn't very religious.
Yeah.
But like my dad, who always like enforced this upon us, like when my parents got divorced, he went through like a midlife crisis and is like a Buddhist now.
That's kind of funny.
He goes to like these freeform churches. Like he still feels the need to go to a church, I guess, just because that's how he's been his entire life.
Yeah.
But like the churches that he would take me to when I was like at the age of like 14, like post my parents' divorce, they were like Buddhist churches where like I forget what it's called. It's like non-denominational churches, something like that.
Yeah.
Where it's like anybody who worships anything can go there, but it still feels very much like a church. It's just a little more like new age or so, something like that. Like,
yeah.
Yeah. So,
yeah, gosh,
fuck church, man. I'm not a fan.
Yeah, not a fan either. It's
I would rather go through eternal damnation than go to another Christmas church service.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, that's like hell itself. It feels like it goes on forever.
Yeah. God, I wasn't gonna bring this up. I wasn't gonna get too deep into this, but like
it's okay. We've already alienated Ohioans, and like who else have we alienated? We've alienated lots of people. Let's alienate religious people too.
Flint. We alienated Flint way back.
That one.
Okay, so here's my thing. Everyone's like, if you don't give yourself to God, you're gonna spend eternity in hell. And it's like, oh, okay, but I feel like if this God you're talking about does exist, I feel like he's got to be a little understanding. Like,
oh, for sure.
Like, bro, what? I didn't ask you to put me here. So my choice is either you're forcing me to worship you or I have to suffer forever. Like,
you brought me here.
Yeah,
this whole thing was your plan.
Like, I didn't ask for any of this. So what you did, you brought me here specifically just to kiss your ass.
God. It's funny how much you sound like me talking to my dad right now.
I love it.
Like my dad, and I don't want to get too deep into this. It's pretty public knowledge at this point that I don't have a good relationship with my dad.
Right.
With my biological dad, with my stepdad, I love that guy. But
which one's the Hank Hill looking dad?
My biological dad,
the Buddhist.
Yeah.
Nice.
What the fuck was I saying? Oh yeah, he is always for my entire life been like very traditional, treated it like, oh well, you know, your parents brought you onto this earth, so you need to like pay them respect for that and plan to take care of them and shit like that. And it's like, I had no say in that. Like you're acting like I owe you something, but I want to be dead, dog.
I mean, that's at least a little more like reasonable.
I don't know, man. It's like,
I get what you're saying,
right?
But
but anyway, that's to say, like, I feel you on that. And I think I said this on the podcast a long time ago. It's like, if there is a God, then why do we get hiccups, dog? If there is a God who doesn't want us to fuck, then why does fucking feel so good?
I'm with you, man.
Why would the bro make it feel good and then be like, don't do it though? Like, testing my faith. Fuck off. He wanted me to feel good.
Right.
Well, you're telling me that when you create something from scratch, you don't want it to have happiness. You want it to like know that there's potential happiness out there that it's not allowed to have. That's fucked up.
Right.
God's kind of a sadist.
Yeah.
That's kind of fucked up.
Yeah. Oh.
So anyway, now that we've alienated like 20% of the earth, how much of the world is religious at this point? I know it's dropping every year because we're all becoming nihilists. But
yeah, I don't know. This is going to be a complete topic change, but before I forget about this, I gotta bring this up. This just happened. Well, I heard this on the radio last week, I think on Friday, and it ties into something that you and I used to do during our little Breakroom Nachos
sessions.
Yeah, thank you. Session. That's a good word. So two of the guys in the radio the radio station I listened to, they were going to cover the Michigan game, which was in Wisconsin. So they were gonna carpool there together. And then one guy was like, "Man, do you know what the other guy brings as his road trip snack?" And the other host was like, no, what the hell? What does he bring? And everyone knows that this guy's like a big like meat eater, like former football player, talks about eating bacon constantly. He's like, he takes one of those jars of like yellow Tostitos queso dip and just gets a bunch of beef sticks and just dips them in there.
Hell yeah.
And we used to do that shit all the time. That was
delicious.
Fucking great.
It's not healthy, but it's awesome.
Right?
And if that's wrong, then I don't want to be right.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. So I feel like I got to try that because I don't know if we're going to be able to find that good nacho cheese anymore. So
I bet it's on Amazon.
It's got to be.
Everything's on Amazon. That's a problem, but it's also a good thing.
Yeah, at least you have access to everything.
I'll say, like, when it comes to me and my relationship with Amazon, if I can find something off Amazon, I do my best to, because I don't really want to support the business model.
Yeah.
But sometimes you just gotta 2-day ship that shit, you know?
Right? Yeah, I feel you, dog.
And there's like really good deals for like furniture and stuff. Like when I bought my bed, when I moved out of my parents' house, like I didn't buy like a nice, super expensive bed. I bought a full-size bed frame, not even $100.
Yeah.
And it served me well. And you know what? I got a memory foam mattress for a full-size bed for less than $200. And that thing is crazy comfortable.
Yeah, the only other way you could get one of those is if you go to World Market and Tom feels bad for you. Then you can get one for like $60.
Right. But man, like mattresses are not cheap. And I found like a really decent one that's like really comfortable. Like my roommate used to come into my room and just lay on my bed because she thought it was so comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've got like a traditional mattress, but that shit was like over $1,000.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not cheap.
No.
But anyway, this has been another episode of Breakroom Nachos where we alienate a portion of our potential audience.
Yeah.
If you're religious, please leave a comment explaining how we're going to go to hell and how damnation is all that is in line for us. If you were religious before this podcast and we broke your faith, go ahead and give us a PogChamp in the comments.
Hell yeah. All right.
Bye.